Hi guys, it's been over 2 weeks now since we last did a video, and I decided, you know what, instead of being inside in the house, let's go out in the sunshine today, because we don't get too much sunshine in Ireland, and when we do, we love it, and it is glorious. So what I want to talk about today, guys, is basically, if you grew up in the 90s, what were the consoles that you grew up with? I'm going to show you all the consoles that I grew up with in the 90s, the ones that I had. Now I know there was loads of different variations of consoles that came out, but I'm just going to show you the ones that I had for the 10 years of the 90s that I grew up with. So I went basically from being a kid to a teenager to an adult in those 10 years. Alright, so okay, the first console that I actually got was back in, I think it was 1991, and it was the Super Nintendo, and I've mentioned this before. I picked loads and loads of potatoes. And if anyone knows, in Ireland, you get about, I think at the time we were getting about 30 pence for a big bag of potatoes, so I had to pick a lot of bags to be able to purchase this console.
You're averaging about mentioning potatoes about one every 4 videos.
I know, but it took me actually 2 full weeks, basically 14 days of picking potatoes to purchase this system. The Super Nintendo. Now this is my original Super Nintendo from way back when, and I purchased it in 1991 in Fermoy, in the ESP shop that used to be in Fermoy. It's now closed, and after a full 2 weeks this is what I purchased, the Super Nintendo, and it came with Mario All-Stars, which is the 4 of the original Mario games, and it was fantastic, lots and lots of fun. And we bought other games as well at the time, but I'm just mentioning this is the console that we bought, and it's still in pretty good condition, Bob, isn't it?
It is in pretty good nick.
I got it in 91, and I still have it today, and it looks amazing, and it still plays perfect. So that was my first console. Now guys, hit me up in the description and you tell me what your first system that you ever bought yourself, what was it? And if you grew up in the 90s, were you a Mega Drive kid? Did you have the Sega Mega Drive? I didn't. I had the Super Nintendo. So there's my first system from 1991. Okay?
Stay calm. Concentrate on the screen. You are about to experience the future. Never before have you had to cope with advanced 3D graphics. 360-degree rotation. 96 level. 32,000 colors. Even more enemies. The ultimate challenge is waiting.
So, as kind of time moved on, I did a few little jobs and stuff for a neighbour of mine, and he actually picked up the Philips CDI, kind of mid-90s, I think around 93 or 94, and I used to do a lot of little jobs for him and stuff, and as payment he gave me the actual Philips CDI instead of money, and I was thrilled to bits, even though you couldn't buy nothing for it because I couldn't even get games for it, because you go into the shops and none of the shops really had it. I think he bought it inside in Tossie Bryan's inside in Fermoy, if I'm right, and again they were very niche in Ireland at the time. So that was this system here, as I said, the Philips CDI, and the one that we have is the top loading one. Now there was other variations, but this was a variation that I got back then, back in around 93 or 94.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this was the first genuine kind of fully all-round entertainment system as well, wasn't it?
Well,
would it have been?
It probably would have been, because at the time you had the Mega CD as well, and the Mega CD could play CDs, play games.
Oh, actually,
whereas this could play CDs, music CDs, play games, and also play movies on CD. So yeah, I suppose, yeah, you're right.
Would it have been?
So there is the Philips CDI, and unfortunately, if you're watching the video, John, do you remember there, like kind of towards the end of the 90s, you gave it a loan to a guy, Johnny Regan, up in Waller's Hill, and never got it back, so I never got it back. This is one that we bought a couple of years ago, Bob, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From a guy in Germany, but this is the exact one that I had back then. So that was the Philips CDI.
And we got the cartridge for that as well, didn't we?
We did, so, oh yeah, you have to play VCDs, or CDI movies.
Yeah.
Say you're going to buy a CD player and you're thinking. But then you hear about the next generation CD player.
It's called CDI, and it works with your TV to bring you the ultimate in movies, games, and family entertainment.
Awesome.
Awesome is right. Awesome sound, awesome pictures, awesome choices.
CDI, tell a friend.
CDI kid, huh?
Now get into CDI, starting at $2.99 with $200.
Now, after the Philips CDI, you'll remember that we kind of went from 2D to 3D very, very rapidly in the 90s, and around 1996-ish, I picked up the actual Sony PlayStation. And at that stage, I think it was out about a year and a half when I picked up my one, and this is my exact copy of the one that I picked up. It's the Sony PlayStation, and what you got in this box was the two controllers. You got, as you can see down here at the front, you got the free demo disc, which is what a lot of people played at the start. You also got memory card, and it was fantastic. And
this is the value pack, isn't it?
It is the value pack, and it was about a year and a half, 2 years after the console came on release that they released this. And I remember buying this inside in Smith's, and the time I bought this, they had two kiosks. I've said this before, the two kiosks they had up was the Sega Saturn or the Sony PlayStation. Now on the Sega Saturn kiosk they were playing at the time, they had Sega Rally playing. But over on the PlayStation kiosk, they had the Lost World Jurassic Park.
Oh yes, no competition.
So the Lost World Jurassic Park was what swung it for me to buying the Sony PlayStation, and to this day I love that game, and it was my first game that I ever played on the actual Sony PlayStation. So that was my next system.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when Sony brought out their first PlayStation, you never ever got a full game.
No,
you only got demos.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
You always got a demo disc. When most kind of like Sony and I suppose, I'm not too sure about the Saturn because I didn't have a Saturn back then, but Sony gave you a fantastic demo disc, and there was about, there's a load of good games on this. Yeah. So it just shows you what the console can do. So that was the system that I bought, kind of 96, 97. Okay.
Hello, citizens of Europe. As spokesperson for SAPS, the Society Against PlayStation, I'd like to talk to you about a menace threatening humanity. It's happening right here, in our very homes, and corrupting the lives of our loved ones. Yes, friends, I'm talking about this. It may look like a harmless bagel toaster, but inside is a deadly donut. How do you know PlayStation is not a normal game system? It carries these telltale signs. Scientists say its effects are mind-boggling. Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Here we have a normal, healthy young man. And here we have a fellow who's been experimenting with PlayStation for only a few minutes. Proof that we saps must be on our guard. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Now, I did everything backwards, you see, because we were waiting so long for, and I was a Nintendo kid, like, we were waiting so long for the Ultra 64, as it was called, and we didn't get ours till late 1997, kind of 98, but I didn't buy mine till 1998, and the one I bought was the GoldenEye edition, and I've shown you this console before, guys, but here we go. This is the one I bought. It was the GoldenEye N64 pack. And the only difference with this, as I keep saying, guys, is it included the N64 game GoldenEye, which was fantastic. But the other game that I purchased with this, and had never played before, I never played any of the original games, was Zelda Ocarina of Time. And to this day, I still think it's one of the best games you could ever play on a system, because even today, playing it by today's standards, the story is fantastic and you get drawn right back into it. And I would say anyone, even a kid today, if you set them down in front of a TV playing this game, they would love it. And that was the system that I bought towards, I think it was 98 I bought it. I remember at the time, I've said this to you before, Bobs, my sister had, she had a yellow Fiat Punto. Not yellow Fiat Punto. She had a green 5-door Fiat Punto, brand new, that she had bought. And I remember one Christmas she gave me a spin into town, and I purchased this console.
What did you go picking for that? Turnips?
No, no, I had a good few. I had some summer jobs and money saved up, and I remember purchasing this before Christmas.
Cool.
So that was that.
Captain, there's something heading our way extremely fast. It's coming straight at us. I've never seen anything like it before.
Action. Racing. Fun. Adventure. Nintendo 64, the fastest, most powerful games console on Earth, now at $99.99.
I want to say the last system that closed out the 90s for...
Well, the penultimate for
system,
you.
for us anyway, was the Sega Dreamcast. It was the last system that we picked up, and it closed out the 90s for me because we kind of picked it up. And this is not my original one. My original one is kind of in storage, but this is one we picked up a couple of years ago. It's the German edition, which has Choo Choo. I think it has Choo Choo. Yeah, Choo Choo Rockets inside this box. But this was the system that closed out the 90s, the Sega Dreamcast. To this day, still a fantastic system, and to this day there's still games being released for it, even though it didn't have the longevity, because it was released in Japan in 1998, in the US and Europe in 1999, and it was discontinued in the US and Europe in 2001. But in Japan they still got games right up to 2007, 2008. But to this day, people are still releasing games for this. They're porting games over to it, so the longevity of this system is amazing, even though the lifespan was so short.
But there's a whole online community
There is.
around Dreamcast.
So guys, that was a quick video we were doing today in the glorious sunshine. So guys, hit me up in a comment if you like the video or don't like the video, or if you don't mind, please subscribe to our channel, and as I keep saying, help will help us to build it. But what I want to say, guys, is let me know in the comments, what was the system you had, what was your ultimate favourite system in the 90s, and tell me what you had growing up in the 90s. Okay, so we'll talk to you in the next one, guys. Have a good one and take care.
Bye bye.
We got her! Hi, Randy.
Well, hello.
It's thinking.